Right. So thanks for meeting with me, Shelby. So we're just going to go over your vitals first, and we're going to go through the rest of everything that we did and all your results. So your blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate, those are all your vitals that we took before we started. Those were all well within the normal range. So you're pretty good on that. Your blood pressure was actually really good, so that's awesome. When we did body composition, we just did the in-body, which is the one where we stood. So that said your body fat percentage was 22%. Now that typically is about 3 to 5% off. So it still put you in the lean category. If it was off a little bit, it probably would have put you just in like the normal or like average category. So you're looking pretty good on body fat percentage. Your BMI was 18.1, which for women, that's underweight, just compared to the general population. So I know I gave you that one sheet that it printed off with it, but that suggested that you gained 12 pounds of muscle or lean body mass, and then just lose about a pound of body fat. So usually we suggest losing about 1 pound of body fat a week. It's about 3,500 calories, so yeah, that wouldn't be too hard to do. The muscle mass would probably take a while just to put on weight for that, but it's kind of progressive. So, right, so next we're going to go over the cardiorespiratory fitness. I believe you did the mile run, correct? Yeah. I think you took like about 10 minutes, right? All right, well, I did the calculations, because you have to, it's like a long equation, it takes a lot of time. Do you have any questions about body composition?
I don't think so.
I forgot to ask you, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so back to fitness, cardiorespiratory fitness. Your predicted VO2 max, which is kilograms per milliliter per minute, oxygen per milliliter per minute, is 41.8, which is actually in the good category. If you wanted to improve, typically the recommendations are 20 to 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise for 3 to 5 days a week. Do you have any questions about that?
Will you explain what that is, like, more? Is that just, like, my breathing?
Yeah, so it pretty much just looks at, like, the amount of oxygen your body is taking in, and, like, how well you utilize the oxygen when you're doing exercise. And so your body utilizes about 42 milliliters of oxygen per kilogram of your body weight, which is 55 per minute.
So, yeah, what are you using to calculate that?
It's like a long equation for the category of tests that we did. They're made typically for like the general population, so they have been like studied and reviewed, and they've been able to like come up with equations that when you type in like your time, your results, your weight, your height, like it's able to calculate like a predicted VO2 max. So there is like ones that you can do where you actually like hook up, but so those are more accurate. But for just this test and just getting a baseline, I'd say it's probably good enough, that kind of test. So yeah, any more questions about that?
No.
It's a good question, actually.
That was the one thing I just wasn't familiar with.
Okay, so next we're just going to review your muscular strength and endurance results. For bench press, you were able to get 55 pounds, which was just the bar and then 5 pounds on each side. Based on the general population, that's technically in the very poor category. But we talked about that. You don't really lift upper body very much, so that's not very unusual. Your leg press and squat was, you did leg press. That was at 230 pounds, which is about twice your body weight, which is a pretty good ratio. I just put you in the good category, which is like a little bit above average, so that's actually really good. And then your hand grip was only 21 pounds, and that was also in the below average category, but that is kind of correlated to bench press. Also, if you don't deadlift, do you? Yeah, so that's one thing that like improves hand grip as well, and so it's just like, I know it can go over full body results, but it's highly associated with upper body, so it makes sense that that's on the lower side too if your bench is kind of lower. So I typically would suggest that you implement upper body exercises into your workout routine. Typically you're supposed to do 2 to 3 times a week, 2 to 4 sets, 8 to 10 exercises of 8 to 12 reps. That's just for strength thing. So usually you do like a full body routine and then do like upper and lower body, but I would suggest probably focusing more on upper body just to get it back to the normal range. Do you have any questions about that? Dope. All right. Next, we're just going to go over your endurance results. YMCA bench press, that was the one with the bar and the metronome. That like ticked. You remember that one? Yeah. Based on your results, that puts you in a very poor category. But again, like I know you don't do that a lot. You don't do upper body a lot, so it's not like too out of the norm. You know, it's not that crazy. Your sit-ups was 44 in a minute, which was really good. That's excellent. I guess that's a different category. No. Your wall sit was 20 seconds on your right leg and 22 seconds on your left leg, which is also in the below average category, but that's not a very typical or very common test. Unless you like specifically train single leg, like doing that motion, it's harder to get like a good number on that. I know mine aren't very good, so that's hand grip was 26% on your right hand and 32 on your left hand, so that's pretty much just meaning where you started off and where you ended. Ended was only 32% of where you started off. Does that make sense? Okay.
So it decreases.
Yeah. Yep. Because that was the one where we held it for a minute. It was pretty tough. Yeah. So that one was just in the average category. That's good. So I would also recommend doing endurance exercises in your weight training regimen, along with the strength that I suggested earlier. Endurance is more like 15 to 25 reps, so it's a little bit lighter weight, but more reps. It looks like you could probably do upper and lower body endurance training. Your trunk and abdomen was really good. That's the sit-ups, so don't need to focus as highly on that, but it's still good to do just to keep that where it is. So do you have any questions about endurance? Dope. So for the static balance test, we just did standing balance, where you just, standing balance. That was 2 minutes and 46 seconds. There's not really any classification system. It kind of just gives you a baseline where you're at. I'd say that's probably pretty good. Anything more than 2 minutes is, I'd say good. I don't know. The next one we did was Y balance. That was the one where it was on the floor and you had to slide your leg out, kind of tested how far you could bring yourself back. You had a very high score. They so you add up the 3, and then you calculate that in terms of your leg length. And so that ratio was 4.56, which is on the high side. It was really good. So I didn't have any recommendations for balance, just because you seem to be doing pretty well with that. If you wanted to like improve, you could just switch up like the kind of workouts you're doing, because if you like typically just do the same 5 exercises in your regimen, it's good to like do different exercises to train different parts of your range of motion and increase your strength of your stabilizing muscles. Do you have any questions on that?
No.
Great. Okay, for flexibility assessment, we did a lower body, a trunk, and an upper body. For the lower body, we did the sit and reach. Your results were 5 inches. Excuse me. So you got the 28, I believe, which was above average. So keep up the good work on that. The next one we did was the trunk rotation, which is where you had to like go around and like try to get the line on the wall. You were in the very poor category with that one. I believe you were at around negative 20 centimeters, adding up both sides. So I would suggest maybe doing some like trunk and abdomen stretches. Upper body, we did the back scratch, which is the one where you had to like go back. You were also really excellent on that. So just for like my general recommendations of the thing, I just suggested adding in more trunk stretches to your current regimen, which can be anything from like laying on the ground and like turning your legs to one side or different stuff like that. Yeah, do you have any questions about that? Okay, do you have any like final questions of the entire assessment or?
I don't think so.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks.